All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. Today, we are going to finish off with demand, okay? The next video, the next lesson is going to be on supply. We're going to be starting that up. So let's go ahead and finish off demand and see what's up with this. Okay. So the objective today, we're going to analyze how a change of income and substitute plays a role in what we buy. Then we're going to examine the difference between elastic and inelastic demands. And lastly, we're going to create an argument on whether the amount of money we have determines how and where we spend our money. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to the warm-up picture. All right, so here is your warm-up picture. The first question asks you to analyze the picture and explain what's going on. Now, you have to remember, this is like a comic strip. You have to look from left to right. Okay, so look at the guy, how he looks on the left, look at how he looks like in the middle, and at the very end on the right. What do you notice? Okay. The second question says, what is this artist trying to say about inflation and our economy? Now, the thing is, I do understand you may not know what inflation means, but based off the picture, you can kind of get an idea of whether inflation is a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, so again, what do you think this artist is trying to say about inflation and about our economy? Again, look at the guy in each of the pictures and you should have a good idea. Okay, so write your response, but pause the video because we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's the thing. A change in quantity demand. The textbook definition is this. It's a movement along the demand curve that shows a change in the quantity of the product purchased in response to a change in price. So basically saying, if you remember the demand curve, like when I asked you guys how many hamburgers would you buy at if a burger was $100, $50, $10, $5, and remember how that line kind of dipped down? That's the demand curve, if you forgot. If you remembered, awesome. But basically what this saying is that there is a movement that does happen when price has changed. Okay, now why would that affect people? What kind of things does that mean? One of the big things that makes people change whether they buy something or not is usually on their own income, how much money they make from their job or whatever. That is known as the income effect. It's a change in quantity demanded based on the changes in price that alters consumers' real income. So in the past several years, one of the biggest things that's happened that made people income change was COVID. I'm sure you remember, it wasn't that long ago that companies started closing down. People, they didn't get paid, because they didn't work. And some companies, they were like, okay, well, we're going to be shut down for a month or two, maybe 3. And a lot of companies did not expect to be shut down this long, or for so long, that they didn't take into consideration. Maybe we should, see what our options are, And some companies went under. Some barely survived by the skin of their teeth. Okay? But the thing is, the workers, the people getting the income, a lot of them did not get any money. So their shopping habits changed, instantaneously. Instead of getting the Lucky Charms brand, they went to the Molten Mellows, the big bags, Nothing wrong with that. Some people went from, going to the gym, having the gym membership, canceling that, canceling their Netflix. They're like, we'll just watch regular TV off the antenna. Hey, it's free TV. So people's lifestyles change because of that. So that's one thing. And this is where it goes into the substitute effect. Typically, 99.99% of the time, a substitute is typically a downgrade. Okay, so like I gave the example with the Lucky Charms and that Malted Mellow, the big bag cereal. It, don't get me wrong. The big bags, some of them are really good, but like that one's just nasty. So to me personally, that's like a downgrade from Lucky Charms to that. That's a downgrade. Okay. Um, so again, big income, you're gonna get brand name stuff. You have a lower income, you're gonna get generic stuff. You might not be getting Tylenol, you might be getting the CVS brand. You know, so those are some things that happen when your income, you're not getting as much money when that takes a hit. So here's your first question. Has there ever been a time where the amount of money you had made you change from what you originally wanted? So let's say you were like, you know what? Oh, I want to get the new pair of Jordans. Yeah, I want to get the new pair of Jordans. And you come to find out they're like $200. And like, I don't have that much money. But I need shoes now. So you might get another pair of Jordans. Maybe one that's already a couple years older. It's cheaper. Or another brand shoes. Vans or whatever. If that's never happened to you, answer the second question. What do you think is the best substitute when it comes to items, and why? Basically, what I'm asking for is, to you, what is one thing where the cheaper thing is better than the brand name? Okay. Now, great example. One of my neighbors here, he basically tells me, the McDonald's coffee tastes so much better than Starbucks and all these other Dutch Brothers and all these other places. He goes, and the McDonald's coffee is like dirt cheap compared to Starbucks and Dutch Brothers and all those other um, coffee places. So to him, that coffee tastes better than the high end stuff. So to you personally, which thing, clothing, food, whatever, where the downgraded item is better than the top tier, top name, big brand items? Okay. So pause the video, write your response, because we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's the thing. There's a thing called the change in demand. This is where people are willing to buy a different amount of product at the same price, except the number they're buying is either going to be more or less. Okay, and that's represented on the graph there. Always remember, if the line goes to the right, that means it's an increase. And if it goes to the left, which means you get closer to that zero, that's bad. Okay, that's a bad thing. Now, what can make something go increase or decrease? Now, if you notice, if you put your finger on one point where all three lines meet, it's the same price and it goes across. And you should be thinking to yourself, well, how does that work? Well, because if people like something, they don't care what the price is, they're going to want to buy it. So more people are going to want it. But if people are not going to want it, doesn't matter the price, then not many people are going to want it. Okay. So what can do that? Customer taste. That is the one thing that's always a constant. You can rely on that. Is that we're not going to like the same things again and again and again and again and again. Some things might come back. You know, for years, there was an argument thing saying if eggs were good for you. Yes, no, things like that. Was milk good for you? Yes, no, things like that. So it kept going back and forth, back and forth. Is eggs good for you? Yes, people start buying eggs. No, so they stopped buying eggs, and same thing with milk. So it just went back and forth. Trends and fads is one of another big thing that happened. All right, think to yourself this question: when was the last time you did the Gungam dance? Remember that dance when you were younger? Everyone was doing the Gungam Gungam. What about the stinky leg? It's stinky leg, stinky leg. What about that dance? Or Superman dance, or the jerk. your mind might be going, oh my God, I haven't heard of those dances in so long since I was a kid. I remember doing that stuff, things like that. And that's the point. I want your mind to think that. Now, if someone does that right now, if just out of the blue, someone just started doing the Gangnam dance in Walmart while you're right there, would your mind go, hey, there's a dance. Yeah, I remember doing that. Or would your mind go, what's wrong with that person? Why are they doing that? That's so old. That's the thing. Your taste has changed. When it first came out, you did it. You enjoyed it. You had fun with it. You might even recorded yourself doing it. And now you're probably like, oh, where's that video? I want to delete that. Okay. The other thing that might happen is a substitute. Okay. So let's say, and typically when it comes to food, typically it's based off health stuff. Recently it's been about health stuff. So there might be something that's saying, doctors would say, canola oil is okay for you, but extra virgin olive oil is better for you. So extra virgin olive oil, their graph would go to the increase because more people are now going to buy it because they found out it's healthier for them. Canola oil will go the opposite way. It's going to decrease. And excuse me, and that's going to cause less people to buy it. Okay. Want another example? Let's do one. Soda. Okay. Soda, doctors say it's bad for you. But carbonated water, that's good for you. So soda is going to go in the decrease, and carbonated water is going to go into the increase. Okay, so people are getting the substitute. So when they do that change, one goes this way, the other one goes the opposite way. One goes backwards, one goes forward. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, come see me in class, and I'll explain it better for you, hopefully. But majority of people in class did understand it. They got the idea. So hopefully you did too. Okay. So here's your next question. Um, you should really take a minute and think to yourself, what is a trend or a fad that you recently took part in, but you no longer do anymore? You don't do it anymore at all. At all. And also, when I mean by trend or fad, I'm not talking about something you and your friends did, because that's small. I'm talking nationwide or worldwide that people did. So think of clothing, think of music, food, dance moves, apps, games, haircut styles, whatever. What is something that like a lot of people in our country or the whole world people were doing, you know, and that you did too, but you no longer do. You're like, that why did I do that? That was stupid. Oh my God, I spent so much money on that thing and now I don't even use it. I don't even know where it's at. Or I tossed it, or, you know, I deleted it. Whatever it may be. Tell me what it was, you know, all right? And don't forget the why. Why don't you use it anymore? Why don't you use whatever it was? Okay. So pause the video, write your responses, but we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is elastic. Now, some of you guys know what that is, some of you guys don't. For those of you guys who don't know, elastic is basically like this, right? It stretches. It's like a rubber band type of thing, okay? So you can get this and you can stretch it thin, go as far as you want, stuff like that, okay? This also works in economics. It's a measure of responsiveness that tells you how a dependent variable, such as quantity, responds to a change as independent variable, such as price. So how does quantity change because of something like price? Well, here's the thing. Depends on the product. This is a big thing. It's a cause and effect of what happens. Like, great example, soda. soda has a shelf life from 6 to like 8 months. So if you get, we're not talking about the 2 liters, we're talking about like the canned sodas. They're usually about 6 to 8 months. So if you saw a sale at a grocery store saying the 20 pack, the 24 pack of sodas is selling for $1, you might just buy like 10 packs, right? Because hey, that's usually like $7, $8, $9. So might as well get as much as you can, right? And it's gonna last you. You got weddings, birthdays, quinceañeras, you got whatever get-together, barbecues, whatever your family does. You're gonna do stuff together. That's when you guys can drink them, and use them, right? Now, if a 24 pack of soda costs $15 to $20, you might not buy one. You might, if you do buy any, you might buy just one, and that's it. And you might be like, you know what, you better get that last drop out of that can, because that stuff was expensive. And that's what elastic means. When the price is cheap, you're gonna buy a lot. Well, go more like this, a lot. But if the price is really high, none, zero, gone, zilch, nada, nothing. Okay, that's what elastic means. Okay, how much you buy varies because of the price. Now, inelastic has the opposite effect. Okay, it's at a given change of price, it causes a relatively smaller change in quantity demanded. Meaning, no matter what the price happens, if the price goes really cheap, you're not going to buy a ton of the stuff like you did with soda. Okay, the price is basically going to stay the same. It's not going to get any bigger, no matter how you try to stretch it. It's not going to get any bigger. Okay, so a great example is like milk. Milk has a shelf life of about 2 weeks, maybe 3 max, right? If a gallon of milk costs $1, you're not going to buy a ton of milk, right? Because for one thing, it has to be refrigerated, right? Two, if you buy, let's say, 20 gallons of milk, that's a lot of milk. And you're not going to be drinking, chugging that thing down and things like that. No, you're not. So when it does spoil, you just wasted all that money. Now, let's say the price goes from a standard thing of milk, it's like $4. So let's say it goes up to $6. You might just still buy it because the thing is, you need the milk for your macaroni and cheese, and if you have little brother and sister, kids, babies, things like that. Yeah, you still need that milk. So you're not going to buy a ton. You're just gonna buy maybe one. That's it, and you're gonna make sure it's used up, right? Because hey, you spent that much money for it. And if it is cheaper, yeah, you might buy an extra gallon, but you're not gonna again buy 40 gallons of milk. Okay, so elastic, depending on the price, you're gonna buy a lot, right? Either a little if it's too much, or a lot. Inelastic, the whether prices, you're not going to buy more. You're going to buy relatively the same amount. Okay. All right. So now here's question number 3. What is something you will buy no matter what the price is? Whether it's high or low, you're like, I'm going to buy it. I don't care. Whatever the price is, I'm going to buy it. I want it that bad. I'll buy it. I don't care what the price is. What is that item? Now, do not put, Ferrari. I'll buy a Ferrari. No, because you don't have the money for a Ferrari. We're talking right now. We're not talking about in the future, when you have millions of dollars or anything like that. We're talking about right now. What is something you will buy no matter what the price is? Okay, so pause the video, write your responses, but we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so this last part is, it's unit elastic. This is something I kind of took off for a while, but I recently put it back in because, again, I don't know what kind of job you might have in the future. You might become an analyst, and if you do, this is something you would probably use, okay? But the reason I took it out, again, it's not scientific. It's not like it's an absolute thing. It's just, nice, clean, simple math. Basically, what it means is, let's say you have, coffee, right? You have a company selling coffee. If you decide to lower the price by 20%, what Unit Elastic basically is saying that because you lowered the price by 20%, you can then expect 20% more customers. Is that always going to happen? No. No. Could it? Yeah. There's a slim chance. It might be 20%. It might be more. It might be less. It varies. Now, why would it vary? People's taste. Again, going back to the thing a couple slides ago. You may think, hey, this item, this product is really good. I love it. But there might be a ton of other people who might say, that stuff sucks. I don't like it. It stinks. Why does anyone ever buy this stuff? Your taste and my taste and everyone else's taste is different. Okay, nobody likes the exact same thing for every single thing. Okay, that's the variable that makes things change, is people's taste. So to say, oh, if we drop it 50%, we're going to expect 50% more people. You might not get 50%. You might get 25%. You might get 75%. You never know. But again, this type of equation, it's for people who are very analytical, who like nice, clean, simple math. That's why I took it off, but now I'm putting it back on because, again, you might be an analyst for a company one day. I don't know. If you are, you might use this. So here is your exit ticket question. Remember, you only pick one of these two questions. The first one says, what is the major difference between elastic and inelastic demands? So if you kind of forgot, you should really rewind the video by a couple minutes and rewatch that part. Or you can answer the second question. Do you think the amount of money we have determines how much and where we spend it? Do you think how we spend and where we spend our money is dictated by how much money we make at our jobs? What do you think? All right, so write your responses. Okay, once you're done, you are done with this lesson. You guys, you take care, you be safe. All right, and I'll see you guys later. All right.